All right, so welcome officially, Elaine and Susie.
Thought you could say pure awareness of perfect love then.
That's a good one.
So we're going to just dive into our quote for today, and there's a bit of teaching around the work by Byron Katie. So we'll just read and discuss that a bit, and then that'll move us nicely into our lesson. Okay, so I'll share my screen. You see that all right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could, one of you could read the quote.
Faith is the strength by which a shattered world shall emerge into light.
Yeah, so that was said by a lady called Helen Keller, who's quite an incredible lady. She was blind and deaf from a young age, from about 18 months. So blind, deaf, and I think by the age of 6 she couldn't speak. She was a really wild child. She was out of control. And a lady called Anna, what's her name? Anna, I'll tell you now. Anne Sullivan. Anne Sullivan came in to her life as a tutor, first teacher, who became her lifelong companion. And she taught Helen language. She taught her reading and writing, and brought her back from this really chaotic, crazy mind. You can imagine me being both blind and deaf. Her inner state, and helped her to become, an inspiration to others. She lived a very fruitful life. She was an advocate for disability rights, as you can read there. Worked with the American Foundation for the Blind for most of her life. She toured the US and traveled to 35 countries around the globe, advocating for those with vision loss or who are blind. And she wrote 14 books, hundreds of speeches, essays on various topics, ranging from disabilities to women's suffrage, to Gandhi, to labor rights, to world peace. And so she had a very productive life, even despite her disabilities. So really inspiring. And faith is the strength by which a shattered world shall emerge into light. She walked that talk. So really what she's saying is how we respond to the inevitable challenges that life in the stream world presents us with is a measure of our faith. And as Yeshua said when he was alive 2,000 years ago, we can only receive in accordance with the measure we meet. So the nature and extent of your faith produces the results you experience in your life. We must have faith in something, because we cannot live our lives without following some thought system. And to believe in any thought system is to have faith in it. Believing in an illusory separate self and the false world of separation that it made up is a form of faith. It will disappoint you time and again. It's in fact the reason that time seems to continue. You shouldn't really be disappointed, because what else could you really expect from a false belief system but disappointment? Why are we expected why are we surprised when we get disappointed? Because what else could we really expect from something that's not true? So faith in the truth of eternal love, no matter what appearances in the world seem to contradict this truth, is the only form of faith that's justified. And that will ultimately not disappoint you, because it is only faith in what is permanent and eternal that will ultimately restore your mind to the changeless peace of God that surpasses all understanding, as it's called in the Bible. But this faith in what is true requires that we let go of the belief in what isn't true. And that means that we must question our beliefs about everything and consider that they may not be true. And this is what the first two questions in Byron Katie's 4-step work process are about. To ask what you believe is true. And then she said, just to give you a second go at it, she threw in the second one. Ask again if you can absolutely know it is true. And the process is, so is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? How do you react when you believe that thought? So you start from a false premise. You start from a belief, whatever that may be, about someone or something. And you run it through those two questions, which make you question it. It's truth. And then you ask yourself, how do I react when I believe that thought? So there's a self-awareness there. Okay, so let me observe. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? So getting in touch with the emotions, the thoughts, which is exactly what we do in every breath break, every mind training lesson based on the workbook. It's always about, okay, so look at your thoughts, look at your emotions, what's going on. And then pointing us beyond that, the fourth question says, who would you be without the thought? So if you didn't have that thought and you didn't have that emotional reaction, who would you be? And that points you directly into your true self. The higher awareness, pure formless awareness of perfect love, we call it, that is beyond all false thoughts, all emotions, and that simply is. It points you there. So these are just pointers, but it's a useful pointer. It's a pointers that you can use as a process to correct your false thinking. And after answering these questions, you're asked to come up with a turnaround. So a sentence expressing the opposite of what you currently believe. So for example, he doesn't understand me would become, I don't understand him, or I don't understand myself. So it's a form of self-directed cognitive therapy that is close parallels with the mind training that you're doing in the workbook lessons. Help many thousands of people to get out of their mental ruts, to improve the quality of their lives. Could do the same for you. So if one of you is open, what I'll do as a demonstration is take you through the 4-step process with an issue that you're facing. Could be trivial, could be like, I'm just irritated by something, a little bit irritated or frustrated or annoyed, because it can work on seemingly trivial matters, or it could be something more deep-seated. It's up to you. So would either one of you like to do that?
Yeah, at the moment I can't think of anything though, because I've just had a session, Jono.
Yeah.
But Elaine, go for it.
Well, maybe.
Right. For example, I mean, what?
Well, what's bothering you?
Well, there's always
there's an issue in your life.
at the moment, right this moment, I'm in oneness on this course, so there's nothing at this moment in time. But if I
Okay, so go in the last 24 hours, last 48 hours, anything come up?
Well, I guess, well, there was a situation with a cat, because I'm part of the cat welfare, and there's all of a sudden a lot of kittens being born, and I've got to organise mothers and kittens and places to go. And one lady rang me up and said, "Can you take this cat? I can't have it now." And I thought, oh, and then I was getting irritable because I wanted an answer straight away, and not with her in my own mind. So
Yeah.
I'm wanting something to work the way I want it to work. And of course, it doesn't work like that with light. So is that what you mean? Something like that?
Yeah. Okay,
It's
so
very
let's
trivial,
work
I
with the question of the cat. Okay, so the situation was...
Well, well, at the moment we've got 4 kittens going to, because I'm sort of working with foster carers. So I've got a mother and babies that have been born with one, but there's one cat going to Germany. There's quite a few of them, and she said, "Can you take this cat now?" And I thought, oh, well, I'm organising this. It was supposed to be the 3rd of April, so I was getting irritable. It's all sorted now, but in that moment I was getting irritable because it wasn't working for me at that moment, because everything was just, you know, how you get plans and then there's somebody throws something in. Is that, but again, it's all sorted now. That's the only trouble. I've got it sorted. But I remember feeling irritable because I thought, oh, I don't need this. What am I going to do with this cat that's going to Germany? So is that what you mean? Where you get irritable?
Yeah, so any situation where there's an adverse reaction can work.
Right.
So then, the first thing, put yourself back. So let's go back there. Put yourself back into that state. Close your eyes.
Right.
Put yourself back into that state of mind. Okay, so imagine the situation. Put yourself back there where you were. Maybe you were speaking to on the phone in your house. Imagine yourself there. What was her tone of voice? Bring back what she was saying.
Yeah, she was being a sergeant major.
Okay, so she was just saying, right, just do this, instructing you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have that thought, and you found yourself getting irritated, going, well, was there a sense of, well, how dare you talk to me like that, or how dare you say that?
Not quite, because I know that that's her nature, so I'm used to it. So it was more really, oh God, what on earth am I going to do with this cat? that was basically it. And so I had to calm down. So I guess is this where this bit comes in?
Yeah. So then you question that. You say, well, is this actually true? What am I going to do with the cat? Uncertainty, doubt. So is that uncertainty true?
Not really, no, because something could have been done. It's just it was inconveniencing me. I would have had to put the cat with me in one of my rooms, really. I could have sorted it. So really at that point in time, it wasn't true, because there was a solution.
So number 2, can you absolutely know that it's true? No, you can't know that that's true. It's just a thought that's come into your mind, go, oh, what am I going to do with the cat?
Yeah, that was
and
it.
And then, how do you react when you believe this thought?
Yeah.
You reacted irritably, didn't you?
I did, yes. Without showing it, though, I kept it inside, obviously. Didn't want it.
In your own awareness, you were feeling it, weren't you?
Yes, I was, actually, to be fair. Yeah.
So that's, but you've got to be very honest with the process. How do you react? Okay, so I reacted with a bit of frustration. I was irritable. And can you see that it was really the thought that led to that?
It was.
It wasn't what she said. It was the thought about it that led to the reaction.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, because you start saying, God, this is just too much. Yeah, the way you talk to yourself. Yeah.
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 So that's self-talk. Those thoughts really
Yeah.
are what
Yeah.
cause the reaction. It's not what
Yeah.
she said. It's your reaction to what she said.
Yeah. That's very true.
Yeah.
Yes. And then
Which is all belief. You have a belief then,
yeah.
which and you believe that belief, then
Yeah.
that leads to the knock-on effect of the reactions.
Yeah. It was
But
a
if it was
lot of,
all just a belief, it wasn't what she said, it was your
no.
belief about what she said.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So this process gets you to see that. Okay, it's just a belief, just a thought, belief. I reacted in this way because of the belief. But if the belief isn't true, then who would I be without the thought?
It would be no
If
problem.
you hadn't
wouldn't it?
had that thought,
Yeah.
who would you have been in that situation?
Pure formless awareness.
Yeah. And on the level of form in this world, your reaction would have been different, wouldn't it? You would have had a different mental and emotional response. How would you have reacted if you hadn't believed that thought?
Oh, you mean if I hadn't got irritable, well, I would have just taken it
Well,
in
if you believed the thought, you got irritable. So the belief was what triggered. Who would you have been in that situation?
Who would I have been? Elaine? Me?
No,
The ego? The separate self?
no,
Oh, you mean,
no.
yeah, pure
You would have
formless.
been beyond it. If you hadn't believed the thought,
Oh,
like, what am I going to do about the cats? Who would I have been? Who would you have been?
Well, I would just be in awareness, just in pure awareness.
And would you have been more kind, more loving, gentle?
Oh,
Would you have said something differently? Would you have handled the situation differently?
yes. However, I did do a bit of my usual people pleasing and just sort of, in the ego sense, I just sort of was kind in that way. So like you say, the ego does do a bit of people pleasing to get what it wants. Is that right? So I've done a bit of people.
So did you people please just to avoid any kind of conflict?
Yeah, I did.
But you felt irritated and a bit resentful.
I did, yeah, because the time that she was supposed to keep the cat till was 3rd of April.
Okay, so you just said okay, and
but
then you felt a little bit resentful because you felt like she'd imposed upon you.
A little bit, yeah, because I thought I could have done it, but unfortunately, there was, a mother with kittens come in, and then there was four orphan kittens, so I already had enough going on. So that was like sort of, oh, enough's enough. And so, but that was the ego mind going, oh, I'll not be able to cope with all of this. You know the way the mind talks, and and then, oh, this is no fun. God, honestly, this is what you say to yourself day in, day out, isn't it? I know it's silly.
Well, this is the third question. How do you react when you believe that thought? Well,
it just makes you grumpy and your body in flight and flight. And it's not pleasant, no. Yeah.
So you can see that. And then, so who would you be without the thought?
Just pure formless awareness, really. I would just get on with what was necessary to do.
Without any of that mental and emotional drama.
No, it wasn't necessary. Now, with hindsight, it wasn't necessary. But luckily, nobody saw me in that grumpy mood. Well, maybe my husband might have done. Husbands always get it. But,
well, it's not really about what other people think. It's about your own response. It's about your own mental and emotional state. So your piece was disturbed for that time.
It was, yes. So yeah, which it is life. Every day we get these challenges, and I'm like a grumpy old woman inside. I'd like to calm that down. Yeah.
So there's a good process to correct the mind. You could use this and just say, okay, can I know that thought is true? Question the thought as soon as you have it. Oh, what am I going to do with the cat? Okay. Can I know that's true? Is it true? Can Can I absolutely know that it's true? And that second question, like, you can't really know anything absolutely in this world,
No.
because everything's perceptual, everything's relative. You can't absolutely know anything is true. Even
No.
something that seemingly happened, you have no proof of that. You have no evidence. It's just a memory now. So,
Yeah.
can you absolutely know that it's true? No, you can't.
No.
So it undermines the whole foundation of the belief and the thought system that sponsors these beliefs. Those first two questions. Then there's an awareness of how do you react when you believe the thought. Okay, so go into the thoughts and emotions, feel them. How does that feel? And it never feels good. If it's a false belief, it never feels good, does it?
No. I think the trouble with the
Be
ego
honest.
is, yeah, it is very true that, because I know the ego just wants everything to work its way. So anything's thrown in it. Yeah, and it is, like you say, time to address all that. Yeah, because you're never going to have peace, because every single day gets something
Yeah.
thrown at you.
There's always something, rising in
Always.
your life.
Yeah,
Because nothing here stays the same. Everything's static and moving.
totally.
If you're engaging in life, one way of getting out of that is take yourself out of life and society. But then you're not going to be getting these lessons.
Right.
So Yeshua's saying to us, well, the quickest way is expose yourself to all of this. Get the triggers, get triggered,
Right.
and then do this work of letting go of those thoughts.
Yeah.
By recognizing that they're false. So there's an awareness of the thoughts, a questioning of them, and then an invitation to go beyond them. Who would you be without the thought?
Yeah, it's true. Because I've got a pending tax thing I've got to fill in, and I don't enjoy it. My husband now, he's just not got it. His memory's gone. So I've got to do it all. And I've got it in the back of my mind, dreading it. And I do need this because it's silly. I know what you say, yeah.
So that dread, so let's work with that. Is it true? You're dreading it, doing the tax return. Is that really true? Is there any
No, it's
justification
not really.
for dreading it?
No, it's not really true. It's just, it's not an activity that I enjoy doing. So again, I get grumpy.
Okay. So can you know that that's absolutely true, that it's an activity you don't enjoy doing? Can you absolutely know that's true?
No, I don't know. Yeah, because I've only started doing it. So
you've done it, what, once or twice before?
Did it last year when obviously Dave's health obviously had health problems. I had to do it all. And I hadn't a clue what I was doing. And I probably didn't enjoy it because I was getting grumpy about it.
Okay.
But
So that was last year. But can you absolutely know that it's true that you won't enjoy this?
Well, I don't know. No, I don't.
Okay, so that's clearly a false belief. You can't absolutely know it's true because it actually is possible to enjoy it. There's some people who do enjoy doing tax returns, believe it or not.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so you're questioning these beliefs.
Yeah, I think it is. It's just all the letters and the messaging you've got to do to Airbnb. Then you've got the Hesto. I get it. I think I could do better things than this with my life. So these are
could
these.
You? Because
I'm enjoying doing this. I'd rather do this.
But that's your spiritual practice for that day, you see.
Yeah, or be with my
application.
Dogs. I love being with animals, and or going for a swim in the ocean. I'd rather do that.
But when you face the negativity in you that these situations trigger, then that's the work. That's the spiritual practice.
Of course, yeah. No, I'm sounding
that's
like
the application.
Princess now. Yeah.
That's the application of these ideas into your life.
Of course, yes.
So there's a if you see it that way, you go, okay, well, me doing the tax return is part of my spiritual practice.
Right.
It's part of my hero's journey. It's part of my awakening. It's not something separate, not something that I don't want to do because I've got better things to do, more spiritual things to do. It's absolutely part of this whole process that I'm engaging. It's the opportunity to practice these things, put them into practice.
Right.
So that would be then your spiritual practice for that day, if you're going to do it in a day.
Yeah, I think that's true, because there's a lot of chores, like obviously your cleaning and all those. They're not my favorite things to do, but I get on with it. But there's, like I say, this tax return, I've got a very negative thing about that. And it's you say, it isn't really true. It probably will take me an afternoon if I just sit down and just get rid of the rubbish in my head. Yeah.
Okay, so then number 3, how do you react when you believe that thought? That this isn't something you can enjoy, something you dislike, you should be doing something better with your time. How do you react?
You're just grumpy and negative, aren't you, really? If you don't believe it, is that what you're saying?
Oh, how do you react? Simple question. How do you react when you believe the thought, I don't really want to do this, I can't enjoy this, so I've got better things to do with my time, these kinds of thoughts? How do you react?
It's just makes you negative, and unpleasant feelings. Yeah.
Okay, so you can see that clearly.
Yeah.
So who would you be without the thought? You didn't think, I don't really want to be doing this. Who would you be?
Pure formless awareness.
Yeah. And would that be much more peaceful, much happier?
Much more.
And then you turn it around. So once you've gone through this process, you've seen that clearly. There's a realization there. Okay, that thought doesn't serve you in any way, does it?
No.
Oh, I can't enjoy this. How does that thought serve you in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah,
it just makes you unhappy.
You sort of put it off, procrastinate. Yeah, you tend to put it off, and that makes it worse, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
because you maintain the negativity. The problem is the thought. It's not the activity. The problem is the thought about the activity.
Yeah.
Your perception of it is the problem. See that?
Yeah. Yeah. So
if you turn it around, you've answered these questions. You've seen really the untruth of it. You've seen that the thought system, that thought doesn't work. And pointed you beyond that thought. Okay, so there's beyond that thought is peace, it's a happier self. And you turn it around, you express that in a sentence, expressing the opposite what you currently believe. So I can't enjoy. What's the statement? I can't enjoy doing a tax return. So turn that around. How would you turn that around?
I can enjoy. Follow my bliss. Well, no,
yeah.
Follow my bliss, which means being
I can enjoy.
I can enjoy.
Well, just focus on turning the belief on. So I can enjoy.
I can enjoy. Yeah.
Say it. I can enjoy.
Oh, I can enjoy.
Yes. Say the whole thing.
I can enjoy doing the tax returns for my husband's pension and the Airbnb.
Yeah, so there's a turnaround. Okay? You take the opposite of what you currently believe. Can't enjoy? No, I can enjoy.
Right.
Could you turn it around in any other way? You say it differently. Can't enjoy could become
I can enjoy.
Yeah, I can. That's the obvious one. Is there another one?
Oh, I can see this with peace. So the word enjoy is a little bit extreme.
Yeah. So you could say I can.
Peace would be more. I can do this more peace and calm. Yeah, rather than
I could
Yeah.
experience this
That
calmly,
sounds better,
peacefully.
yeah. That does sound better. Yeah. Oh, big Kalima on at the moment. Just
Okay.
wings on. Yeah, sorry, yes. Sorry, yeah.
So sometimes you can also do another turnaround. So for example, he doesn't understand me. It's related to another person. Could be I don't
Right.
understand him, or I don't understand myself.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
So I can enjoy this. Could become, well, pure formless awareness, perfect love. Can do this for me. That could actually be another turnaround. Instead of I can do this, it's
Yeah.
pure formless awareness, perfect love. Can do this for me. See, it's another turnaround.
Right.
So in the turnaround, you just flip it around. It's like the
Right.
same idea as flipping your flop. You turn it around and you state the opposite. So you're bringing in another thought system,
Right.
which is exactly what we do in the mind training with the workbook lessons. Same idea. You bring in, you start with where you are, and then you turn it around by applying the lesson, saying, no, it's actually not this way. Actually, this is the way it is. It gives you a particular mind training exercise, and it's the opposite of your current belief system. So this is a process that obviously was inspired, came to her, was given to her by spirit, very much in alignment with many other spiritual teachings.
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast with her, and she was saying, well, these questions are really about the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism.
Right.
Very similar to that. Each one brings you to a realization of the Noble Truths. The Noble Truths are that life is suffering. Apparently there's suffering. So is it true? Can you know that suffering is true? And there's a cause of suffering. So can you absolutely know that it's true? Gets you to really question the causation, which is in your own mind. How do you react when you believe the thought? Is recognizing the negativity, the suffering, and saying that there's a way out. Fourth noble truth, third noble truth, there's a way out of suffering. And the fourth noble truth is, who would you be without that thought that there is an end to suffering?
Mm.
So you can see how that's mirrored in her process, which she came up with independently of any spiritual realization. She hadn't studied things like Buddhism or any spiritual teachings at all. She was severely depressed in her mid-40s, severely depressed. She'd been depressed for 10 years. She couldn't get out of bed for sometimes weeks at a time. She was agoraphobic, which means that you're scared of places outside, going into shopping malls and even nature, open spaces. She was overeating. She was addicted to codeine and alcohol. She was a mess. Right. So she went into this counseling center for a couple of weeks, and she woke up one morning on the floor because she didn't feel like she was worthy of sleeping in the bed, and a cockroach crawled over her foot. But in that moment, she didn't have any adverse reaction to it. Because in that moment, she had no self-identification. There was no sense of Byron, Katie, this person reacting to the cockroach. She just observed it from a state of what we would call pure formless awareness. Heart reaction. And in that moment, when she'd gone beyond the ego, she realized on a deep level that it was just her own beliefs that had been creating her suffering. And she perceived everything differently from that moment onwards. And she went to the bathroom and she said she looked in the mirror and she saw this figure, this body staring back at her. But it wasn't really her looking. So the old self-concept had dropped away in that moment and given her this insight, this moment of insight, or satori, they call it in the Zen Buddhist tradition. Just an insight into the true nature of things. That's what a satori is. So she saw that her suffering came from her thoughts about her life situation. Thoughts like, my life is horrible, I don't deserve happiness, I don't even deserve a bed. I'm so guilty and sinful. So
It's
my
good,
life
really,
is
isn't
horrible, I
it?
don't deserve happiness.
It's really good how she wasn't happy where she was, and it was her thoughts. It's like you say when you get resistance and stuff, but this was clearly see that she wasn't happy with the
And
thoughts.
she realized, her key realization, what makes me unhappy is my thoughts. When I believe my thoughts, then I'm unhappy. If I don't believe them, because she had that moment of insight where there were no beliefs anymore. In that state, which is pure formless awareness, happiness is natural. There's no problem. Happiness is just your natural state. So she noticed the truth, an eternal truth, that beyond the false beliefs, beyond these thoughts, was an awareness in which happiness was natural. So if you didn't believe the thoughts, then naturally you could be happy. Very simple insight, but that's the essence of the enlightened state, is to realize that it's only my own thoughts that are making me unhappy. And out of this insight, she developed a process of self-inquiry, which she called the work, that she used to heal her mind, helped her to let go of her depression, her fears, her addictions, become a healer who's helped thousands of people change their lives over the last 35 years. Yeah. So, Susie, it's pertinent to your situation. Can you see? She could have beaten herself up forever, said, well, you've messed up your life. And, she would have negatively affected her family. And she could have been in guilt her whole life about, all the mistakes she'd made. And she'd been an alcoholic and she'd been depressed. But she just let go of the story. In that moment, she was like the story of Byron Katie was dropped. And then she allowed another entirely different reality to unfold. She's become a healer, global, internationally recognized healer, teacher, counselor, who's helped thousands of people to overcome their own addictions and traumas and difficulties. Totally different story from her first 43 years of life. Through that insight, and she said it just kind of happened. The work started to get out. She started to get invited to speak. It was before the days of the internet. It was 1986. She had her satori moment. So the internet only came along sort of 6-7 years later, I think, almost a decade later. But it just started to unfold for her. There was an interest. People started to talk about it. She then wrote books, started delivering talks. A website came up. Over the last 35 years, she's been able to help a lot of people. And it just unfolded naturally. So her purpose unfolded from her insight into who she truly was. in that moment. And that's what this work came out of it, which is just it's another spiritual process, it's another technique, but there's truth in it. The reason it works is because it points you in 4 simple questions beyond the mind. Helps you to go into an awareness beyond thought in 4 questions, which is quite powerful. It's in the Socratic tradition. So Socrates, who was a great Greek philosopher and teacher, would ask questions. So he would teach through questions. Often if a student asked him a question, he'd ask a question back. It was questions, because he realized that questions got you to start doubting your current thought system, your current belief system. You questioned it, then it was the beginning of an undoing of that thought system. If you never question something, you just accept it as truth, then there's no undoing, is there? You have to question it first. So it was almost like she tapped into something way beyond, what she consciously knew. She hadn't had any kind of formal training in this. She wasn't very spiritual. She was a mess. And yet she was able to download this and bring it through. So it's like downloading universal truth, and it chose to come through her. So she realized that it wasn't really her doing it. It was this presence that she'd experienced so strongly in that epiphany that was doing all of it through her. And she was no longer Byron Katie, the, messed up, alcoholic, drug addicted, agoraphobic disaster. She didn't identify with that at all anymore. So she went back into her life and then was dealing with some of the fallout of, her previous life. So her daughter was a bit messed up, and her daughter would go out and go partying and, taking, drinking too much and taking drugs and, what teenagers do, rebellious teenager does. And she said she didn't feel the need to attack her or tell her, she was wrong. All she did was she sat through the night. She'd wait up for it, night after night, to make sure that she got home okay. So what an interesting approach. Most people say, young lady, you're grounded, you're not going out, I'm going to prevent you from going out. Well, that wouldn't have healed it, would it? The daughter just would have been angry with her, and her daughter would have said, well, you're a hypocrite because you did this for years. You drank, you took drugs, I know, and now you're saying I can't do it. So her approach came from wisdom instead. It's just, okay, so all I'm going to do is be the unconditional presence of love for you. I'll just sit and I'll wait patiently, quietly, kindly. I'll wait. And eventually, it took about 3 weeks. One night, her daughter came back at 3 o'clock in the morning, kind of half wasted on whatever substances she'd been taking. But she broke down. She said, Mom, help me. Because I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really know how to help myself. And there was the invitation that she was waiting for, because now her daughter was open to help because she'd asked for it. So that's a really good story of, unconditional love, and how this work had helped her to access that state. She wouldn't have been able to do that if she'd been in her thoughts and believing the thoughts. It allowed unconditional love to come through and then help her daughter. And that would have been, part of her learning then to become a healer and a teacher. She had to apply it in her own life with her own family first. So great story, very inspiring, and a good process, which you can use standalone, or you can incorporate it into any breath break, any of the mind training lessons that you do. You can just question the thoughts. Comes up and say, can I actually know that's true? Can I absolutely know it's true? How do I react? So I go into the feeling, which is what I always ask you to do. Okay, so be aware of the thoughts, be aware of the emotions. How do I react? And then the turnaround just comes through the lesson. Okay, well, who would I be without the thought? Well, the lesson tells you. Today's lesson is pure formless awareness of perfect love is the strength in which I trust. That's who I would be without this thought. So that leads us nicely into the lesson. Elaine, if you can read that for us.
God is the strength in which I trust. Pure formless awareness of perfect love is the strength in which I trust.
So that's who you would be if you didn't have all of that, all those negative thoughts, believing them. Move the lesson now. Okay, so you want to read paragraph 1 in the original, just normal way, sentence by sentence, and then go to the. In fact, in the first paragraph isn't much to translate, so just read it as it is.
Yeah. If you're trusting in your own strength, you have every reason to be apprehensive, anxious, and fearful. What can you predict or control? What is there in you that can be counted on? What would you give you the ability to be aware of all the facets of any problem and to resolve them in such a way that only good can come of it? What is there in you that gives you the recognition of the right solution and the guarantee that it will be accomplished?
Again, lots of questions. Interesting, because Yeshua uses questions a lot, doesn't he? Asks us, so what can you predict or control? What is there in you that can be counted? What would give you the ability to be aware of all facets of any problem, to resolve them in such a way that only good can come of it? What is there in you that gives you the recognition of the right solution, the guarantee that will be accomplished? And we ask these questions, and we have to say, from our ego perspective, that we just can't do this. What can we predict or control? Very little. What is there in us that can be counted on? Can you count on your ego mind? Can you count on your worldly knowledge? Can you count on your life experience? When you ask these questions, it makes you really doubt the ego's thought system, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Which is what he's trying to do here. What would give you the ability to be aware of all facets of any problem, to resolve them in such a way that only good can come of the solution? Nothing in you that would know. How would you know? How would you come into that full awareness of everything and then know exactly how to resolve it? You just, no way, you couldn't do it. Which is exactly what he's trying to get you to realize. So then number 2, Susie, do you want to read for us, or you're just listening in?
Yeah, I'll do this one, but I'll be listening in the background in a minute. Just the alternative or both?
They're actually the same. I've just realized.
Oh.
There isn't really an alternative.
Of yourself, you can do none of these things.
Alternatively, it's the same.
To believe that you can is to put your trust where trust is unwarranted, and to justify fear, anxiety, depression, anger, and sorrow. Who can put his faith in weakness and feel safe? Yet who can put his faith in strength and feel weak?
Okay. Again, questioning. 2 questions. So of yourself, you can do none of these things. And on your own, self-evident that you can't. How would you know what to do? So he's saying trust is unwarranted there. And this justifies fear, anxiety, depression, anger, and sorrow. So all of the negative emotions. And he asks, who can put his faith in weakness and feel safe? Yet who can put his faith in strength and feel weak? Okay, so really just asking us to question the ego's thought system, which is exactly the approach that Byron Katie uses in these questions. There's an interesting synchronicity today, because her questioning process is all about questioning the ego, isn't it? Is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? No, you can't. From separate self, you have no idea. And then he gives us the answer. Never leaves us in uncertainty. So number 3, and if you can read that, this one, do line by line. Got some translation to do.
Yeah. God is your safety in every circumstance. His pure formless awareness of perfect love is your safety in every circumstance. His voice speaks for him in all situations and in every aspect of all situations, telling you exactly what to do to call upon his strength and his protection. There is no exception because God has no exceptions, and the voice which speaks for him thinks as he does.
And then alternatively,
pure formless awareness of perfect love is your safety in every circumstance. Its voice speaks for it in all situations and in every aspect of all situations, telling you exactly what to do. Well, your cursor's on there. Would you be able to move? What to do to call upon its strength and its protection. There are no exceptions because pure formless awareness of perfect love has no exceptions, and the voice which speaks for it thinks as it does.
So directing us again to this awareness beyond the ego mind, telling an awareness that can tell us exactly what to do, to call upon its strength and its protection. And there are really no exceptions. Truth is always true. It's always available. We can always reinterpret reality, so-called reality, through this voice, if we choose to. There are no exceptions, because pure formless awareness of perfect love has no exceptions. The voice which speaks for it thinks as it does. Okay. So that leads us into our practice of this in meditation. So let me just going to go and some noise coming through from downstairs. Give me a moment.
Yeah.
You okay, Susie, great. Thanks for joining us, and we'll chat soon. Send
Bye,
you a
Susie.
message.
Yeah, thanks a
Have a
lot.
nice weekend.
And you,
Yeah.
thank you. Bye.
Good.
Have a lovely weekend. Bye.
Bye, Lane. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so just give me a moment. I'm just going
Oh, yes.
to
Yeah.
get the noise turned down.
No, no rush. Right, I'll just mute.
Okay, Elaine, you back?
Yes, yes.
All right, so let's do a 15-minute meditation.
Yeah.
Okay, so just making yourself comfortable. Sitting with your feet shoulder width apart, back straight. Up your hands in your lap, close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Breathing in. Noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Blowing the stomach up like a balloon, clenching the sphincter muscle to lock the energy in. Draw the energy up the spine to your heart center. Put one hand on your heart to connect with your heart space. And draw it up into the crown of your head, pausing at the top of the inhale. That's a maximal inhale breath. Bring to mind any thoughts in your mind that are fearful, any situations in your life that you've invested with fear. So notice those thoughts, notice the emotions, fear coming up, anxiety, worry. Breathe into all of that to invite this loving awareness and does all fear into your awareness. And dismiss the thoughts by telling yourself that God, or pure formless awareness of perfect love, is the strength in which I trust. God, pure formless awareness of perfect love, is the strength in which I trust. Then exhale and just blow them all away, the breeze of your breath, to the nothingness they really are. Going, going, gone. Pull the stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. I'm going to try to slip past all concerns related to your own sense of inadequacy. It's obvious that any situation that causes you concern is associated with feelings of inadequacy. Because otherwise you would believe that you could deal with the situation successfully. Not by trusting yourself that you will gain confidence. The strength of perfect love in you is successful in all things. The recognition of your own frailty is a necessary step in the correction of your errors, but it is hardly a sufficient one, giving you the confidence that you need, to which you're entitled. Just also gain an awareness that confidence in your real strength is fully justified in every respect and in all circumstances. Try to reach down into your own mind. Just breathing in and out through your nose as you do this. Reach down into a place of real safety. You'll recognize that you've reached it if you feel a sense of deep peace, however briefly. Let go of all the trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind. And reach down below them to the state of pure formless awareness. There is a place in you where there is perfect peace. There is a place in you where nothing is impossible. There is a place in you where the strength of perfect love abides. And so recognize that place now. It's not really a place in location, it's within you, it's in your own mind, in your own awareness. A place where the strength, perfect love abides. So just rest in that place, in that state. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about, nothing else to experience. Just experience the pure formless awareness of perfect love that you are. The strength of that. This is the strength in which you can trust. It will never fail you, it will never let you down. See you through any trial, any difficulty, any tribulation. So just sink into that state of awareness. Say, God, or pure formless awareness of perfect love is the strength in which I trust. And then surrender into this awareness, sink into it. Surrender to it completely for the next couple of minutes of deep contemplative silence. And if any thoughts come in to disturb this deep peace, remind yourself that strength of perfect love is successful in all things. Pure formless awareness of perfect love is the strength in which I trust. Say that to yourself and sink inwards, deep into this awareness. This is the only strength you can trust. Fundamental awareness, your true awareness, pure formless awareness, your true nature, your true being. It's always been there, just been obscured. So go there, surrender into it for another minute or so of deep silence. Just allow it to reveal its strength to you and that your trust in it is completely justified. For the next minute or so of silence. So just gently coming back now to an awareness of the body and the breath, senses and the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow there in through the nostrils. Clenching the sphincter muscle, noticing the energy flowing up the spine. Put one hand in your heart center if you like. Just connect in with all the subtle sensations of the breath in this very clear, aware way. Scan your mind again, notice any thoughts, any emotions, any body sensations going on. Particularly anything that feels negative, limiting, contracted, constricting in any way, and just blow it out. With the breeze of your breath, exhaling it all out to the nothingness that it really is. It's going, gone. All the stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And just rest here. In this stillness, quietness, the calmness. For a few moments, appreciate that, anchor the state in, stay there for the rest of the afternoon and evening. On into the remainder of the session to carry you into the weekend in a very trusting, confident way. So it is said and so it is done. Now on the count of 3, open your eyes. Just take a moment to look around, observing the various things in the room. in the state of pure formless awareness. So you don't have to name, judge, label, and interpret any of it. You can just remain rooted in your true nature and true awareness. Look around you and yourself at God or pure formless awareness of perfect love. This awareness underlies all things. He is the strength in which I trust. And that applies to all things, in all situations, always and in all ways. This awareness is strength in which I trust. So anchor this state in one time. Strong, calm, confident state. Carry on with your day. I practice today's idea 4 times today in the longer form, which is at least 5 minutes. You can listen to the 10-minute breath break I've given you to do that. Do it. You've done it a couple of times already today, and then do it a couple more times. This afternoon, evening, and then before bed. And Yeshua recommends every hour, just topping yourself up by reminding yourself in the shorter practice period that God or pure formless awareness of perfect love is the strength in which I trust. Use it as your answer to any disturbance. Remember that peace is your right, because you're giving your trust to the strength of God, to the strength of perfect love. And that should keep you in that strength, in that flow of love and very confident, trusting state, which is what I wish for you. So that brings us to the end of the meditation. Now we'll go into our session, the second part of the session, which is to read it, discuss, translate, and meditate on today's text reading. Okay, so let's check the lens still with me.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. This one up. So we're looking at today's text is section 5 of chapter 7, called Healing and the Changelessness of Mind. It's 11 paragraphs, so quite a long one, but we'll just do as much as we can. How much time do you have, Elaine?
Well, I should really be finished around 4-ish. Because I've got
Okay.
the pets, yeah, so.
All right, well, let's crack on with this and see what we can get done in an hour and a half, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to read paragraph 1 in the alternative. Just shorten it a bit, so just read the alternative and translate. The remembrance of perfect love is just the Holy Spirit. It's the only translation in this one.
Yeah. The body is nothing more than a framework for developing abilities, which is quite apart from what they are used for. That is a decision. The effects of the belief in separation's decision in this matter are so apparent that they need no elaboration, but the remembrance of perfect love's decision to use the body only for communication has such a direct connection with healing, and it does not need clarification.
It does need clarification.
Does need clarification. The unhealed healer obviously does not understand his own vocation.
Okay, so what is he saying here in paragraph? What's he saying in paragraph 1 in summary?
Well, the body's nothing more than a framework for developing abilities, and that it is a decision, and the effects of the belief in separation. That's a long sentence. It's only for communication and has such a direct connection with healing. Does need clarification. So the unhealed healer obviously does not understand his own vocation. Sorry, I just about read it all out again.
Yeah, well, it's a good summary. So, unhealed healer does not understand his own vocation. So really leading in, this introductory paragraph, it's going to talk about the unhealed healer and healing again. So, and talk about the remembrance of perfect love's decision to use the body only for communication.
Yeah.
Such a direct connection with healing that it does need clarification.
Yeah.
And so he's going to talk to us about how the Holy Spirit, which is the remembrance of perfect love, how its decision to use the body has such a direct connection with healing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's
Personalised.
personalize this.
Yeah, the body is nothing more than a framework for developing abilities, which is quite apart from what they are used for. Oh, my body, yeah.
And my body is nothing more than a framework for developing my abilities.
Yeah.
Which is quite apart from what they're used for. Quite maybe different would be a better translation. Quite different from what they're used for.
Yeah. That is my decision? No.
Yeah, that is my decision, exactly.
Yeah. My effects of the belief in separation.
The effects of my belief.
Yeah.
Be the way to do it.
Yeah, the effects of my belief in separation's decision in this matter are so apparent that they need no elaboration. But my remembrance of perfect love's decision to use my body only for communication has such a direct connection with healing that it does need clarification. The unhealed healer obviously does not understand his own vocation. It's
well, we could say her. No, this would be.
Yeah.
Or if we want to make it plural, eliminate the his, her dilemmas, saying unhealed healers obviously do not understand their own vocation.
Mm-hmm.
So unhealed healers obviously do not understand Zero invocation. And maybe we could personalize that. Putting that in there. So if I'm an unhealed healer, obviously do not understand my own vocation.
Yeah, that's more understandable. Yeah.
Okay, so read that from the top. Make sure you're okay with that.
Yeah, my body is nothing more than a framework for developing my abilities, which is quite different from what they are used for. That is my decision. The effects of my belief in separation's decision in this matter are so apparent that they need no elaboration. But my remembrance of perfect love's decision to use my body only for communication has such a direct connection with healing that it does not need clarification. No, sorry, it does. Oh gosh, I'm off in my, that it does need clarification. If I am an unhealed healer, I obviously do not understand my own vocation.
I think let's make this instead of my belief in separations. I'm going to make that my separate selves. Because a separate self makes a decision. Separate self's decision in this matter. And we'll change up here as well. Okay, so are you good with that? I think let's alternate. You read one and I'll read one. So we have a bit of an alternative. Should I do the first one or would you like to do it?
I'll do the first one.
One's a bit longer. Okay, you do the first one.
Yeah.
So, some recording going. Okay, you've just got your cat meowing there. So
Oh yes, yeah. Can you hear that? Can you? Yeah.
I can. Shall I do the first one? Maybe your cat.
I think he's settled now, so it should be okay.
Should be all right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Take it away, Len.
Okay. My body is nothing more than a framework for developing my abilities, which is quite different from what they are used for. That is my decision. The effects of my separate self's decision in this matter are so apparent that they need no elaboration. But my remembrance of perfect love's decision to use my body only for communication has such a direct connection with healing that it does not need clarification.
It does need clarification.
Oh.
Just read that whole sentence again.
Yeah. The effects of my separate self's decision in this matter are so apparent that they need no elaboration. But my remembrance of perfect love's decision to use my body only for communication has such a direct connection with healing that it does need clarification. If I am an unhealed healer, I obviously do not understand my own vocation.
Yes, so it is. All right, so number one done. Number two, only minds communicate. I'd like to read that in the alternative.
Yeah. Only minds communicate, since the belief in separation cannot obliterate the impulse to communicate, because it is also the impulse to create. Extend.
To extend.
It can only teach you that the body can both communicate and extend, and therefore does not need the mind. The belief in separation thus tries to teach you that the body can act like the mind and is therefore self-sufficient. Yet we have learned that behavior is not the level for either teaching or learning, since you can act in accordance with what you do not believe. To do this, however, will weaken you as a teacher and a learner, because, as has been repeatedly emphasized, you teach what you do believe. An inconsistent lesson will be poorly taught and poorly learned. If you teach both sickness and healing, you are both poor teacher and a poor learner.
Yeah, I'm just going to change this.
Mm-hmm.
Separation tries to teach you the body can act like the mind, and so is so thus. So it's self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
The body can act like the mind, and so is self-sufficient. Okay. So what's he saying here in the summary of this?
Well, only minds communicate.
Wrong one. Let's just get into the right.
Mm-hmm.
The right one. It's this one, I think. Oh, this is the one. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, number two.
Only minds can communicate, and the separate self cannot obliterate the impulse to communicate, because it can only teach you that the body can both communicate and create. It thinks it doesn't need the mind, so the separate self tries to teach that the body can act like the mind and is self-sufficient in. And we've learned this behavior. Yeah.
So remember the integral model. You have a quick look at that, telling us that the exterior domain is the domain of the body. It's exterior world here. The exterior quadrants are objective and interobjective, And the ego is telling us that these are reality. This is ultimate reality, and that there is no mind. So the body is self-sufficient. There is no mind. The body is a product. Everything's a product of the body. Consciousness is a product of the brain. Without a brain, there would be no consciousness. So the physical material is, ultimate
Everything.
reality. And thus, any idea of mind in a world is actually illusion. It doesn't really exist at all.
Yeah. When I
Like in
actually,
mirrors. And this, although it's an incredible belief, how can you deny that you have a mind? This is what the ego, at its extreme, tries to convince people of. So the scientific materialist paradigm is really saying at its extreme that there is only objective matter, only what we can see, feel, measure, touch is real. And this world, the interior world of the subjective thoughts, emotions, memories, states of mind, perceptions, sensations, and the intersubjective world with shared values and meanings, language, relationships, culture. Although this is evidently there, it doesn't even exist. It doesn't really acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Which is why this integral model was necessary. If everyone got this, they would the integral model wouldn't be necessary.
Yeah.
So it's to bring us back into the awareness that the mind is absolutely primary. The subjective self of the domain of our thoughts, emotions, memories, states of mind, perceptions is reality, and then anything external is a projection of the mind that is ultimately not true. So we completely turn around the scientific materialist paradigm and say, no, actually the objective world is not true. So that whole paradigm is false. And the only thing that is true is mind. It's been experienced in mind, and then recognizing that a lot of what's experienced, the thoughts, emotions, memories, perceptions, and immediate sensations, is all false. It's still false. Our minds just got populated with a false idea of separation, which has now been projected out and is continuously experienced as real, to convince us that we are a separate self. We are a body and not a mind. And what better way of doing that than denying we have a mind? See, if we don't even have a mind, how can we change it? Not possible to change it if you don't think you have one. So that's the ego's defense mechanism. I'm a body, not a mind. I'm a product of my body. Therefore, I can't really change my mind. I can't change my beliefs.
Sorry state of affairs. Yeah.
Well, it's a very sorry state, because in that idea that you can't change your mind and that you're a body, you're a victim. You now become a victim of the world. So your thoughts, your emotions, everything is just dictated to you. You can't change your mind. Oh, I got upset because this happened, because someone did this. Even though that's happening in your mind, it's self-evident that your state of upset is actually a mental experience, not
a body.
a physical one. The ego obscures that. We have emotions that have an effect on the body, so we feel that, and we're not aware enough to realize that it's just our mind that's doing it. It's our thoughts that are doing it. So all these techniques, like Byron Katie's work, are really about bringing us back to the primary nature of the subjective I quadrant, the individual interior, saying, well, what's going on here? What are you believing? Therefore, what are you feeling? And is any of this actually true? So all spiritual modalities, techniques work on this individual interior. They might start and have some connection with the exterior, but they bring you back to this state of mind, to your state of mind. Okay, so is that clear?
Yeah.
Belief in separation teaches the body can act like the mind, and so is self-sufficient. So this has some kind of autonomous, independent reality as a body, and you are not really even a mind at the extreme of that. The mind is denied, and you become identified just with the body. And he says, yet we have learned that behavior is not the level for either teaching or learning, since you can act in accordance with what you do not believe. So behavior is not the ultimate level. Okay, so behavior, just the external projection of mind. This is changeable. This is variable. When we can act in accordance with what you do not believe, then we wouldn't be an integrity to our beliefs. But that can happen, and frequently does happen in this world. People act out of accordance with their beliefs, and that's not integrity. We say something has integrity when the beliefs and the actions match. To do this, Bible, we can use a teacher and a learner, because as has been repeatedly emphasized, you teach what you do believe. Teach what you do believe. Okay? So we're always teaching. So you teach what you believe. That happens by default. It happens in your words, in your actions. Everything's a teaching in what you believe. Okay, and then you want to summarize the rest. An inconsistent lesson will be poorly taught and poorly learned.
Yep. Personalize it, yes.
We just summarizing now, so just the last two.
Oh, yeah.
An inconsistent lesson.
An inconsistent lesson will be poorly taught and poorly learned. If you teach both sickness and healing, you are both a poor teacher and a poor learner.
Okay, so he's saying that if your mind is split, you think you're a body, you deny the mind, the power of the mind, then you'll be inconsistent and you'll be teaching both sickness and healing. You're both a poor teacher and a poor learner. In other words, it doesn't work. You must make a clear-cut choice for
One or the
the
other.
spirit,
Yeah.
which is healing. Spirit of oneness, which leads to healing. You cannot choose sickness then. Okay, so is that summary on that done, I think. Yeah. So let's personalize this.
Right, so only minds communicate. Since my belief in separation cannot obliterate my impulse
Obliterate.
to communicate, because it is also my impulse to extend.
Yeah, I think let's leave it as the impulse.
Okay.
Just sounds better than my again.
Yeah, it can only teach me that the body can both communicate and extend, and therefore does not need my mind.
Yeah. So in other words, I'm mindless. It's a bizarre belief system. I don't have a mind. I'm just a body. The idea that the body can extend is ridiculous. How can a body extend? It's physical. It's material.
Yeah,
Only the mind can do that.
yeah.
Body can act like the mind, and so is self-sufficient.
So therefore my
Yet.
belief. Oh, I've missed this bit. 3 out. 3.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry.
Therefore, my belief in separation tries to teach me that the body can act like the mind, and so is self-sufficient.
The body can act like
my mind, and so is self-sufficient. Yet we have learned that behavior is not the level for either teaching or learning.
or learning.
Yeah. Since I can act in accordance with what I do not believe. To do this, however, will weaken me as a teacher, and a learner. Because, as has been repeatedly emphasized, I teach what I do believe.
Or I do believe.
An inconsistent lesson will be poorly taught and poorly learned. If I teach,
let's make that active tense. I will poorly teach and learn.
yeah, an inconsistent lesson. If I teach, both sickness and healing, You are both a poor teacher and a poor learner.
A teacher and a poor learner. Okay. So read it from the top.
Only minds communicate, since my belief in separation cannot obliterate my impulse to communicate, because it is also the impulse to extend. It can only teach me that my body can both communicate and extend, and therefore does not need my mind. Therefore, my belief in separation tries to teach me that my body can act like a mind and so is self-sufficient. Yet behavior is
And
not.
act like my mind, that'll be it.
Oh, act like my mind. Oh,
Yeah.
act like my mind, and so is self-sufficient. Yet behavior is not the level for either teaching or learning, since I can act in accordance with what I do not believe. However, to do this will weaken me as a teacher and a learner, because, as has been repeatedly emphasized, I teach what I do believe. I will poorly teach.
I'll just cut that out. Because I teach what I do believe.
Yeah. I will poorly teach and learn every inconsistent lesson. If I teach both sickness and healing, I am both a poor teacher and a poor learner.
Okay, happy with that?
Yeah.
You read that. You read this. It's my turn to read, isn't it? I'll read it to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so just make yourself comfortable. So closing your eyes, take a nice deep breath in through the nose, breathing in. And just allow these words to come in, drop into your awareness. And you're going to repeat them after me aloud. So put yourself on mute. Say them as affirmations of these profound truths to yourself. Only minds communicate. Since my belief in separation cannot obliterate my impulse to communicate, because it is also the impulse to extend. It can only teach me that my body can both communicate and extend, and therefore does not need my mind. Therefore, my belief in separation tries to teach me that my body can act like my mind. And so is self-sufficient. Yet, behavior is not the level for either teaching or learning. Since I can act in accordance with what I do not believe. However, to do this will weaken me as a teacher and a learner. because I teach what I do believe. I will poorly teach and learn every inconsistent lesson. If I teach both sickness and healing, I am both a poor teacher and a poor learner. And so it is. Okay, moving swiftly on to number 3.
Yep. Just into the alternative, or?
Yeah, I think so. There's not much to change there, just the Holy Spirit, remembrance of perfect love.
Yeah. Healing is the one ability everyone can develop and must develop if he is to be healed.
Yes, let's take out can and must develop.
Yeah.
So if they are.
And then, yeah, to be healed. Healing is the remembrance of perfect love's form of communication in this world, and the only one he or she accepts. Oh, he accepts.
Only one it accepts.
Yeah. It recognizes no other. Because it does not accept. Because it does not accept the belief in separation's confusion of mind and body. Minds can communicate, but they cannot hurt. The body, in the service of the belief in separation, can hurt other bodies, but this cannot occur unless the body has already been confused with the mind. This situation, too, can be used either for healing or for magic. But you must remember that magic always involves the belief that healing is harmful. This belief is totally insane premise, and so it proceeds accordingly.
Okay. So what's he saying here in summary? Number 3.
Yeah.
Paragraph 3.
Well, healing is one ability everyone can develop if they want to be healed. And it's the remembrance of perfect love's form of communication. It recognizes no other and does not accept the belief in the separation, confusion of mind and body. Minds can communicate. The body, in the service of the belief in separation, can hurt other bodies. It can't occur unless the body has already been confused with the mind.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the healing of the magic. Yeah, magic is well, all of the things that we use to think the body's going to be healed, tablets, all that stuff.
Yeah, magic is an attempt to try and fix the problem on the level of the problem. Yeah, a good definition. So we're trying to fix the consequences of the belief in separation from that level of separation. So thinking that the body is real, thinking that the form is real, now we try and address these problems. So any material form that we see as healing is magic, ranging from pills and vaccines through to more sophisticated forms like chemotherapy, drugs, and even operations, any kind of medical procedure.
What about homeopathy?
And ranging to the alternative side, things like homeopathy.
Yeah.
And there's various body modalities. If you believe that that is really the healing, that's what's doing the healing, you're mistaken.
Yeah.
It can be a catalyst for it. It can be a point of belief, a point of focusing belief for someone. So you might do a massage for someone, and then they access a part of their mind that is the Holy Spirit, that's more about oneness, and they feel a benefit, and maybe there's a shift in the body and they experience it. But the source of it is always in the mind.
Yeah.
That's really the key point of this. It's
Yeah.
never the form that's healing, it's always the mind that's healing.
Yeah.
And the form can facilitate that. And Yeshua says, look, there's nothing wrong with using magic if his mind is not accessible to that oneness, they're not open to it. You can use magic as a temporary kind of expedient to help them out of their predicament.
Especially if they're going through like the dark night of the soul, then things like Reiki and massage can help them. Yeah,
so that's helpful in their journey, and there's nothing wrong with that. But understand that it's not the ultimate level of awareness. That ultimately we're talking about something that is beyond the body and beyond any magic, and that they can access that. We all can and eventually must access that ourselves without any magic involved at all, because it's purely mind. The truth lies purely in mind, in this interior individual quadrant. And actually at that level, individual and collective collapse. There's only oneness. Idea of individual and collective disappears as well, because there's no individual or collective in oneness, simply oneness. But you access it through the interior I, subjective self. And the more you go into that, the more you identify with the true I, the I am presence, the more the entire model collapses. This idea of an individual and collective, which will require separation. And so does the idea of interior and exterior. Those collapse, and then it becomes one singular awareness, which is really what all of this is designed to lead you back to. All this mind training is designed to lead you back to that singular awareness.
Yeah. I mean, is food magic? We have to give
all magic. Anything in form is magic. The idea that you need food to sustain you, to live, and without food you're going to die, is magic. It's insane. I mean, what a weak belief system. My goodness, how vulnerable if we believe that. If I don't have food, then I'm going to die. Or water, or air. All these things are magic, which deny the truth of our eternal oneness, our eternal being that's beyond all these things. That is eternal, unmovable, unshakable, doesn't need food, water, air. Those are all beliefs made by the ego.
Right.
To perpetuate the fragility of our ego self. Oh my God, if I don't have enough food, I'm going to die. That cannot be a thought that comes from pure formless awareness, can it?
No. The thing is, most of us on planet Earth now are still in the belief we do need water, air, and food.
Well, that's true. Most people believe that, but it's a belief system that has become entrenched, so deeply entrenched that now there's a program, and we just, our bodies get hungry, and we think we need to eat, and we think we need to drink, and so it's an unquestioned belief for most people. But if you start to play with things like fasting and breath holding things, you start to question those beliefs and challenge them, don't you? And that's why these spiritual practices do these kinds of things. Okay, well, do a fast for a day or longer and see what happens. See, well, actually, maybe I don't need food as much as I thought I did.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, I don't need it at all.
Well,
because I'm not a body.
But at this level of mind, that's more difficult to understand because we're not at that advanced level yet, are we?
Well,
because
the only way you get to that advanced level is to accept it. It's just an idea. Will you accept it or not? Okay, I'm not really a body. All of this is part of the illusion. It doesn't mean you should stop eating entirely. But just recognize that you are not governed by it. That it's a program like any other program. And these programs are all part of a construct designed to enslave your mind. You realize that you can be in the program, but not of it. You're not governed by it anymore. Like, okay, well, I eat, I don't eat. It's not really that big a deal. I'm not that concerned about it. Certainly not fearing that I'll die if I don't eat. Because I realize I can't die. Even if I, fasted for 100 days and my body died, I can't really die. That would be just an awakening to my true self.
Yeah, the body falls away. You die in the ego.
The body's going to fall away anyway. So it's a recognition that it's, this is temporary, and it cannot give me the permanent sense of beingness that I yearn for.
So, but while
that only comes from my mind.
Physical, like them, all my plants after this hot weather have died because they didn't get watered. So it's obviously, so it's not just the human body; it's the animals, the plants.
No, the whole thing is magic. Remember that it's a construct of the mind. This whole world and universe based on laws that are a denial of eternal love. Nothing dies in eternal love. It's not possible for something to die in eternal love because it's eternal by definition. Nothing dies, nothing changes. So it's all part of a construct of separation.
Right.
That's what the belief in magic does. It makes separation real.
Yeah.
And then it says, well, now you can try and fix the problem of separation within the construct of separation. Well, how's that ever going to work?
No. Well, yeah, because I'm trying to figure out how on earth the plants can be surviving without water. But I'm trying to work it out from the ego mind. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you let go of that and you ask for guidance, then guidance can come, but it comes from another place. It comes from another thought system. You have to let go of the one to reveal the other because they contradict each other.
So if I get to my pure formless awareness, will it revive my plants?
I don't know. Okay, who can say it? You're gonna have to experiment for yourself. There's nothing it can't do. It can resurrect. It resurrected the body of Yeshua. So there's no order of difficulty in miracles.
Yeah.
But don't have an expectation.
No. Yeah, no, I haven't. Yeah, no, it's just
do the correction in the mind.
Yeah. mind-boggling, but
yeah, but you start to see that the entire world is magic. It's based on a magical belief that there really is something outside of you. You are a separate self, and now you have to try and make the best of this world that the separate self has invented, and use magic to try and make the best of it. Oh, well, if I just do this, I'll just use this, whatever it is, this means device to make my life better, then I'll be in a better state.
Which can only help in the separate self.
Well, it perpetuates the illusion that you're a separate self, and that the separate self has the answers, that it can help you and it can fix your problems. But then if you honestly look at all the magic solutions of the world, do they fix anything?
Well, they do they extend life, don't they?
Well,
if
maybe
somebody's got diabetes or whatever, it can extend their life.
Yeah, but does it really fix the problem? The person's going to die anyway.
Oh yeah. But I guess if they want to extend
it gives them more of an illusory life, longer, and maybe a so-called better quality of life. But this isn't really life. It doesn't really fix the ultimate problem, which is that they are living in a dream world. They're living in an insane dream world projected by an insane mind, and this will continue as long as they believe in insanity.
Right.
It doesn't fix that, does it?
No.
And ultimately, they will die. Their body will die, no matter what they do.
Yeah.
So all the solutions, all the magic is temporary. Can temporarily seem to fix the problem, but actually the problem remains. The key problem of separation remains until it's corrected at the highest level,
which could be a long way off. I can't see it.
Yeah, or it could be a moment away, because there's no time.
Of course,
who's to say? So you don't set up something where it's a long way off. Go, well, it could be right around the corner.
Right.
Byron Katie, I mean, you would have said that morning, the night before she woke up, literally and figuratively, you would have said, this lady is totally lost. She's nowhere near enlightenment. She's chronically depressed and addicted to drugs and alcohol, and she's way away from enlightenment. And then the next morning, bing, she has an epiphany, and she goes into it, and she's in that enlightened state in a moment, because a bug just, the bug crawling over her foot, and she just perceives it differently, takes her into this epiphany, and boom, she's awake in that moment. So there's no order of difficulty in miracles, and there's no time really necessary, because it's just a shift in awareness, and that can happen in a moment.
But you're still enjoying this sort of general living, though, whatever you like, a glass of wine or whatever it is you like, chocolate. She still can do that, can't she?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what she does and doesn't do. I heard her once talking about, she used to smoke quite heavily before her awakening. Right. And then afterwards, she just was like, well, I don't feel the need. So she did it. But then she was on a trip to Turkey or something, one of those countries. And the taxi driver, she got into the taxi and he offered her a cigarette. And she was like, yeah, why not? And she said, I was really joyful smoking my cigarette in this chaotic, driving through Istanbul or whatever. It's like chaos, and the taxi drivers put the music up and he's smoking a cigarette. And she said it was really joyful. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed doing it. And there was no guilt. And then she finished smoking a cigarette. She got out the taxi, thanked the taxi driver, and carried on her day. So you see, there was no addiction there. There was no she just felt spontaneously that was a joyful thing to do. Now that's a very different thing from, I need my cigarette. I need my nicotine fixed. And then, an hour later I need another one because I'm feeling deprived. Very different awareness.
Yeah.
So she said, I haven't done it since because I haven't felt the need. But in that moment, spontaneously, I did it. You see, so then it's not addictive and it's actually quite joyful.
Yeah.
She could have maybe enjoyed it without the cigarette, but that was, that was what felt right for her at the moment.
Right.
So you start to see that then the kind of the normal rules deconstruct at that, when you're in that enlightened state. It's okay. Well, you could do anything provided there's no negativity, there's no attachment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But there wouldn't be an attachment, so there's no harm. It's like, okay, well, I do that and I'm not attached, so it was a joyful experience, and on I move, and there's no guilt, most importantly. She's not beating herself up anymore and going, oh, you terrible person, you've been, off cigarettes for however long, 20 years, and now you've relapsed in the whole story. She didn't do that.
No.
So it was fine.
Right.
She didn't make it into something it wasn't and create a whole story around it.
Yeah.
It was just a spontaneous expression in the moment of joy.
Yeah.
So in that instance, the cigarette was probably quite good for her because she experienced a lot of joy, and that's going to be an antidote to any of the
addictions,
temporary carcinogenic effects that the cigarette smoke may have had, because it's like, well, in joy you can't get ill.
Yeah.
That's just an example, from her life. But
that's interesting.
the magic, if you believe in the magic, you see, that's the problem. Believing in the magic. As he says, this belief is its totally insane premise. Magic always involves the belief that healing is harmful. So isn't that just, and it's true. You look at how the medical establishment, believe in magic by definition, because that's what their whole system and their business model is based on. That's what they sell, magic solutions to seeming, real problems, physical problems. But look at their reaction to miraculous healings. Oh no, this is dangerous. I remember doing some research on Anita Mojani, her story about the miraculous healing she had. I mean, she was on the way out. Her organs are shutting down. Like, I don't think anyone's come back from that except her. Organs failing is like, okay, that's the last, that's the kind of the last thing that happens before the body dies. Your organs fail because the body can't sustain itself if your organs have all failed. So that's it. And the doctors are saying, look, it's all coming to an end now. Within hours, she's going to be dead. Say your goodbyes to the family. And then she has this near-death experience, goes into the light for 30 hours, talks to her father and her friend who died of cancer a few years earlier, and has this awareness of what she'd done in her life and why she was sick. And her father says, no, you've got to go back because you've got a role to play. It convinces her to go back. But the agreement is, well, I'll come back, but provided my body heals, because I'm not going back to that, sick, weak, completely useless body. It was useless at that point. So her mind made that decision and then comes back into the body, having had that experience, and then her body heals. Within 5 days, her tumors shrink by 70%. Within 5 weeks, the cancer's gone entirely, never to relapse. Now, the medical establishments go, wow, that's a miracle, amazing. Shouldn't we want to understand how that happened? If they were open-minded, like, how did that actually happen? Oh, wow, okay, so, and then explore the near-death experience and go, okay, well, maybe there's a power there that's way beyond any of our magic. No, what they do instead is go, oh, this is dangerous. These kind of ideas are dangerous. They could lead people down the garden path. They could hurt people. We don't want this stuff getting out there. So her oncologist says, no. This was all the chemo. her chemotherapy kicking in at an advanced stage.
Yeah.
And literally said that. I'm like, that's just the most ridiculous idea ever, isn't it? Her
Yeah.
organs are failing. Her organs are shutting down. It's way beyond chemotherapy helping her at that point, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was probably the one of the doctors saying, well, look, she's hours away from death. So say your goodbyes. There's nothing we can do. You can't do chemotherapy on your organs are failing. But the insane belief is then, oh no, actually the true healing that she experienced is harmful, and we'd rather believe in the magic. So no, the healing is harmful and dangerous, and we try and derogate that, try and say that didn't really happen, or it was actually the magic that worked, and continue believing in the magic, which doesn't work very well. Chemotherapy is not a good solution to it. It's more harmful than helpful. Most people die of the chemo, the side effects of the chemo, before they die of the cancer. Your body's already weak. Why would you want to weaken it further by putting a whole lot of toxic chemicals into it? Does that make any sense? As he says, this belief is a totally insane premise, and so it proceeds accordingly. What can you expect from a totally insane premise but total insanity? Okay, so that's the magic, healing, confusion. Let's personalize this.
Yeah. Healing is the one ability everyone can and must develop if they are to be healed. Healing.
So let's say is the one ability I can
and must develop. I am to be healed. Yeah. Healing is the remembrance of perfect love's form of communication in this world.
my remembrance of perfect love's
form of communication
in this world.
And the only one it accepts. It recognizes no other, because it does not accept the belief in separation's confusion of mind and body. I believe, yeah.
Does not accept my belief in separation's confusion of mind and body. Minds can communicate, but they cannot hurt.
Yeah.
So my mind, it's really powerful when you personalize it.
Yeah.
My mind can communicate, but it cannot hurt
Me. No.
my body.
My body, in the service of my belief in separation, can hurt other bodies. But this cannot occur unless my body has already been confused with my mind. This situation too can be used either for healing or for magic, but I must remember
I can use this situation. So I can use this situation either for healing or for magic, but I must remember magic
always involves my belief that healing is harmful. This belief is totally insane premise, and so it proceeds accordingly.
There's calling, any belief in magic insane. Well, that means that all of these systems based on magic, the medical system, our legal system, and it's all magic, isn't it? It's trying to fix the problem on the level of form, are all insane. We live in an insane world because of it.
Going round and round, aren't we?
Trying to find some resolution to all these problems that the belief in separation has invented within the idea, within using the idea of separation to try and solve the problems that it itself has invented.
When they never end.
Talk about chasing, just going around and around and
Round in
not
circles,
seeing the wood for the tree.
I know, which is the way most of us lead our lives, don't we? There's always one problem solved, and then another arrives, and then another.
Yeah, and another, and it's never ending. Life is one continuous set of problems to be solved, and then you try and find a solution, and then you might have seemingly solved that one, and then another one arises, and another one. And eventually that gets very, very tiring. As you get older, you start to go, well,
you're quite right, yeah.
There's no end. It's just, an endless set of problems. If I perceive it that way. The only answer then is to change my perception of it. I can't perceive these things as problematic.
Yeah.
And if I can change my perception, then I can get out of that problematic consciousness into remembrance of perfect love, and my life can be quite happy and joyful. Even while I deal with things on the level of form. Doesn't mean that suddenly everything's just going to be, hunky-dory. You never get any
you're still going
problems or challenges. But you see, you don't perceive them as a problem.
Like what I was talking about earlier, yes, just they're all just mild irritations. They're not major things in life, but they still weigh you down, don't they? These sort of little, whatever you call tax returns, and so people letting you down, blah, 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 Yeah,
and for most people it's trivia, but this is what life is made up of. Various trivial things that are irritating, annoying, not going right, and then they have these kind of seemingly minor irritations, grievances that are just considered normal. Well, this is how life is,
Yeah.
Someone, I think it was Susie, said to me, she went to a doctor and said, well, I'm not really happy. He said, oh, well, that's welcome to the human race. That's completely normal.
I know.
Just accept it, accept the dysfunction, that's normal and that's okay. Take a pill, take some Prozac, and that'll make you, that'll just numb you out. So your dissatisfaction and happiness you won't experience it as much. See, that's the magical approach.
I know.
Okay, well, we'll just numb you out so you don't feel the emotions as much. Instead of let go of the emotions, let go of the thoughts that create the emotions that are the problem in the first place. Let go of those, and you don't have to take drugs to diminish the effect of the negative emotions, because there are none. Because you've corrected it at the source level, which is thought.
Yeah.
Hence, these kinds of approaches, like Byron Katie's work on a mind level, but they are not welcomed by the insane medical establishment that want to keep selling people magic, magical solutions, drugs, and drugs being the primary one because they're so profitable. We don't really have to do anything. Once we've produced the drug, we spend our money on R&D. It costs next to nothing to produce them. It's a few chemicals put into a calcium carbonate tablet, and they charge
fortunes,
sometimes hundreds of pounds for this.
I know.
The profit margins must be extraordinary.
Many people.
They tell you this is some kind of sane system, that this works.
Yeah. I think many people are sort of questioning that now, though, aren't they? I hear a lot of people. So that is definitely changing people's views.
I think it is, but still, by and large, I mean, you see what happened with COVID and the response to most people to that. They took their jabs. 90% of the population did it. Said,
Right.
okay, well, we believe this establishment, the medical establishment, that's telling us this is what we should do. We believe in other words, magic,
It's
and we will take the
placebo.
magic solution. Even course students, when we discussed, Robert Perry and Emily Bennington from the Circle of
Yeah,
Atonement, going, take your vaccine. I mean, it's bizarre. It's magic. How would you expect magic to work? He's telling us very clearly in the course, magic doesn't work. Magic always tries to weaken. So why would you take something that's weakening
Placebo.
spiritually?
Yes, placebo. It's placebo.
Well, then it's only belief. I mean, it's only your belief that's going to do it, isn't it? That's the placebo effect.
Yeah.
But if you believe in that, then you've weakened your mind. You've believed in a magical solution to the problem, and you've denied the healing power of your true awareness, of your true mind in doing that, you see.
Yeah.
Oh, I believe in the magic. No, but that means that I don't believe in my true self.
Yeah.
So as he says, healing only strengthens and magic always tries to weaken. Okay, but let's just read this first.
Yeah.
So if you want to read,
Right.
just read it from the top. Make sure we have the translation correctly.
Healing is the one ability I can and must develop if I am to be healed. Healing is my remembrance of perfect love's form of communication in this world, and the only one it accepts. It recognizes no other because it does not accept my belief in separation's confusion of mind and body. My mind can communicate, but it cannot hurt. My body, in the service of my belief in separation, can hurt other bodies, but this cannot occur unless my body has already been confused with my mind. I can use
Just
this
change
situation.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of passive, we can make that active. But this cannot occur unless, you see, he does a lot of this passive tense. I have already confused my body with my mind.
Right. I can use this situation either for healing or for magic, but I must remember that magic always involves my belief that healing is harmful. This belief is totally insane. Yeah.
Just take out, I must remember, magic always involves. My belief that healing is harmful.
Yeah. And this belief is totally insane premise, and so it proceeds accordingly.
Okay, so happy to read that.
Yeah.
And, okay, Alan, read it.
Yeah. Healing is the one ability I can and must develop if I am to be healed. Healing is my remembrance of perfect love's form of communication in this world, and the only one it accepts. It recognizes no other because it does not accept my belief in separation's confusion of mind and body. My mind can communicate, but it cannot hurt. My body, in the service of my belief in separation, can hurt other bodies, but this cannot occur unless I have already confused my body with my mind. I can use this situation either for healing or for magic. But magic always involves my belief that healing is harmful. This belief is its totally insane premise. And so it proceeds accordingly.
So it is. Okay. So number 3 done. We got time for one more, Elaine?
I could do one more, but yeah, we'll have to, because I've got a few chores to do.
Okay, it's quite a short one. It's good.
Okay.
Healing only strengthens.
Right. Healing, am I reading the alternative?
Just read the alternative, yeah.
Healing only strengthens. Magic always tries to weaken. Healing perceives nothing in the healer that everyone else does not share with her. Magic always sees something special in the healer, which he believes he can offer as a gift to someone who does not have it. Yeah.
So we're talking about the unhealed healer here.
She may believe that the gift, there's a thing in a way there. She may believe that the gift comes from pure formless awareness of perfect love to her, but it is quite evident that she does not understand pure formless awareness of perfect love if she thinks she has something that others lack.
So this is addressing, there are healers like this. You're like, well, I've got some special gift or special power. You've got to come to me because I've got the gift and you don't. And usually they charge quite a lot of money for
it. Is that applied to like Reiki healing? Is that the same idea, or is that?
Yeah, well, any kind of healing. If the healer believes that they have something that the other person doesn't have, then they are delusional.
So that's like me doing massage to folks with a bad back.
No, but what do you believe about it? You see, that's the key. What do you believe? Do you believe you have something special to give them? Or do you believe that you're giving them actually what they already have? You're just maybe opening up the door for them to access something that is in them. It's in you, it's in them, and you become a channel for that loving awareness to flow through. And that comes through in your massage and healing, in your therapy. Right? So it's not really you. It's not a special ability you have.
No, yes. No, I know that. Yeah, definitely. That I do know.
But there are healers, so-called healers, who believe that they have something special.
Right.
And that, they have access to it, and therefore the person being healed doesn't have access to that, and they have to come to the healer to get the special magic.
Right, yeah.
It's a magical belief.
Yeah.
Whereas true healing always comes through the Holy Spirit, or the remembrance of perfect love. Says, well, I have what you have. I'm no different. I'm no different from you. I have nothing special that you don't have. Yeshua, probably one of the greatest healers ever, was in that, in the wholeness, in the oneness. He didn't think he had anything special. He said to people, it's recorded in the Bible, that the lady touched his cloak and she had some dread blood disease or something. She'd been bleeding for 30 years and it healed her instantly. And he felt the energy flow and he said, "You touched me." And she said, "Oh, no, I did," feeling like she'd done something wrong. And he said, "Blessed are you who believe. It is your faith that has made you well."
Yeah.
I haven't done anything. It's your own belief. She believed so much in him. She needed the conduit of Yeshua. She thought he was the Messiah. But it was her belief that did it. It
Yeah.
had nothing to do with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's always the case.
Yeah.
It's the belief that's the important thing. Okay, so
Personalised.
let's personalize it. Did I record that? I didn't record summary. So let's. So what is being said here in summary?
Well, healing only strengthens and magic weakens, and believing in your own healing is what strengthens and heals, and that we all have it in us. And the healer who thinks she's got a special gift, it doesn't work like that. We all have that pure formless awareness of perfect love to help heal ourselves. If she thinks she's...
So the true healer is always just saying, "Well, I'm just a channel. It's nothing special.
Yeah,
I'm just
that's better. Yeah,
allowing this loving awareness to come through me, and that's what's really doing the healing. And you have it as much as I do."
yeah.
In truth, in temporary, in the illusion, the healer may seem to have more access to that than the person being healed. Otherwise, there would be no need for the healing. So temporarily, there's a seeming difference between their levels of access to it. But the true healer acknowledges that, well, it's the same power. I have it, you have it, and I'm just bringing it through. I'm maybe giving you a greater access to that power than you would find on your own.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the summary done. And personalize it.
Yeah. Healing only strengthens. Magic always tries to weaken. Healing perceives nothing in the healer that everyone else does not share with her. Magic always sees something. Yeah, magic always.
How are we going to personalize? I'm just thinking.
Oh yeah.
We personalize and say, healing only strength, the magic always tries to weaken. Healing perceives, so nothing in the healer that everyone does not share with. Healing perceives nothing in me, the healer that everyone does not share with me. So let's make it personal. So, because a lot of people who do this work come to the course of healing, magic always sees something special in me, the healer, which I believe
I can offer
as a gift to someone who does not have it. So this might be quite a push a few buttons of healers who do read this and go, "Well, okay, what's he actually saying here?" I may believe that the gift comes pure formless awareness of perfect love to me,
Yeah.
but it
It's
is
quite evident.
self-evident, shall we say, self-evident that I do not understand pure formless awareness of perfect love. I think I have something that others lack.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll read that from the top.
Mhm. Healing only strengthens. Magic always tries to weaken. Healing perceives nothing in me, the healer, that everyone else does not share with me. Magic always sees something special in me, the healer, which I believe I can offer as a gift to someone who does not have it. I may believe that the gift comes from pure formless awareness of perfect love to me, but it is self-evident that I do not understand pure formless awareness of perfect love, that I think I have something that others lack. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Okay, makes sense. So
yeah.
do you want to read that and then?
Yeah.
Just,
Healing only strengthens. Magic always tries to weaken. Healing perceives nothing in me, the healer, that everyone else does not share with me. Magic always perceives something special in me, the healer, which I believe I can offer as a gift to someone who does not have it. I may believe that that gift comes from pure formless awareness of perfect love to me. But it is self-evident that I do not understand pure formless awareness of perfect love if I think I have something that others lack.
so it is. Okay.
Right.
So you need to depart. It's
Yeah,
just
I do actually, yes, because there is a lot of chores I need to do with
yeah.
Helena.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll send
So-
out. I've done most of this translation, so I'll send it out, and
Great.
you can read it later. And there's also a meditation,
I like the
guided meditation on this
Yeah, they're
section that
great.
you can
They're
do.
very helpful. Great. They're
You
very
like
helpful.
it,
Yeah, they are very helpful.
Good.
So next class, is it Monday?
No, there should be one on Sunday. I've just got to work out where I'm going to do it.
Oh,
So the
right.
idea is to do one Sunday, 4:00.
Okay.
But I'll confirm that on
Right.
Sunday
Okay.
morning with the messages. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So
that's
hopefully
great.
see you Sunday. There's actually a masterclass on Sunday
Right.
evening at 7. So if you know anyone who's
All
interested,
right.
you
Right.
can invite
Yeah.
them to join that at 7:00.
Okay.
Yeah, it will be running on from the session. We start at 4. So hopefully
Right.
some
I'll have a
members will
think.
stay, and if you can invite anyone, then they can come in. Linda
Right.
may be interested, or someone else, and then you're there. So it's like you've invited them, and then I'll talk
Well,
about the
Yeah,
program.
I've got a friend who's interested in, I mean, Linda, she's like now, she's now living it, and so, but I've got another
Well,
friend.
I would suspect Linda could probably benefit, unless she's perfectly
I'm
enlightened.
sure she probably, I know, I'm sure she
and
would.
she's on the level of Yeshua. there's not too many of those, then
I know,
there's
yes,
a
I know, it's
going
very
deeper
true. Yeah,
into this.
I don't,
So
true, but I don't
so-
really see Linda that much. I mean, I haven't seen her for a few years, so, but yeah, I shall certainly mention it to her.
I'll invite her. She can.
Yeah, of course.
I think
of course.
just put it out there, and if people are interested, they'll
Absolutely.
show up, and if they're not,
Yeah, will do.
they won't.
Yes. But I'll send the invitation to her, and I've got another lady as well. So I've got a couple in mind there. Yeah, I will do.
I posted it on the group today in the last few days.
The invitation, yeah.
There's a little message you can copy and paste in the Telegram, so after the PS. So you copy and paste that, and you can paste it into Telegram or WhatsApp and send it, or email or whatever.
Yeah, in fact, I'll quickly do it now, because once I get into chores and so forth, then you get lost in time. So I'll do that now.
Okay.
And then
all right. Thanks, Elaine.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. See you Sunday.
Yeah, thanks. See you Sunday. Okay.
Okay.
Namaste. Bye.
Namaste.
Bye.
Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye. Bye.